Hadith number 11. عن معاذ الجهني رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من قرأ القرآن وعمل بما فيه ألبس والداه تاجا يوم القيامة ضوءه أحسن من ضوء الشمس في بيوت الدنيا لو كانت فيكم فما ظنكم بالذي عمل بهذا. Hazrat Muaz Juhani radiyallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever reads the Qur'an and acts upon what is contained in it, his parents will be made to wear a crown on the day of judgment, the brilliance of which will excel that of the sun, if the same were within your worldly houses. So, what do you think about the person who himself acts upon it? Thus it is through the virtues of his reading the Qur'an and acting upon it that the parents of the reader will be honored with a crown, the brilliance of which will far excel the light of the sun, even if the sun were within one's own house. The sun is at a great distance from us, and even then its light is so bright. If the sun comes down into one's house, its light and brilliance will surely increase manifold. The light of the crown to be worn by the parents of the reader will be still more brilliant. When this is in store for the parents, what will be the reward of the reader himself? Surely if the beneficiaries get so much, the reward of the person who is the real cause should be much more. The parents get this reward solely because they were the cause of the reader coming into being, or were responsible for his education. In addition to the fact that the light of the sun will be far greater if it were in one's own house, this simile implies yet another delicate point. Attachment and liking for a thing increases when it always remains with a person. Therefore, the feeling of strangeness for the sun, due to distance, will give place to attachment because of its close nearness all the time. Thus, in addition to describing the brilliance of the crown, the hadith implies this attachment with the crown and also the great satisfaction that it belongs to oneself. Everybody gets benefited by the sun, but if it were to be given entirely to a person, how very proud he would feel. Hakim rahimahullah has reported from Buraidah radiyallahu anhu a saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, one who recites the Qur'an and acts upon it will be made to wear a crown woven with noor, and his parents will be made to wear garments which will be more valuable than the entire world. They will say, Almighty Allah, what is it that we are being given these garments for? In lieu of the reading of the Qur'an by your child, will be the reply. It is given in Jam'ul Fawaid by Tabarani rahimahullah that Hazrat Anas radiyallahu anhu had reported the saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, whoever teaches the reading of the Qur'an to his son, that is without memorizing it, all his sins, whether previous or subsequent, will be forgiven. And whoever makes his child memorize the Qur'an will be raised on the day of judgment in the semblance of a full moon, and his son will be asked to start reciting. And for every ayat read by the child, the status of the parent will be raised to the next higher grade of Jannah, till the recitation of the Holy Qur'an is completed. Such are the blessings for teaching the Qur'an to your children. This is not all. There is another point. Allah forbid if you deprive your child of the knowledge of deen, that is religion, for the sake of a few coppers, not only shall you be deprived of eternal reward, but you shall be held answerable before Allah. Is it not a fact that you are depriving your dear child of reading the Qur'an for fear that mullahs and huffaz, after memorizing the Qur'an, become dependent on others for their living? Please remember that not only do you expose your children to eternal misery, but carry on your shoulders a very heavy accountability. The hadith that kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyyatihi, each one of you is a guardian and will be questioned about those under his control, means that everyone shall be questioned about his subordinates and dependents as to what extent he taught, that is, deen, to them. Surely, one should guard himself and his dependents against these shortcomings. But, as the proverb goes, should one discard clothes for fear of lice? Nay, one should surely try to keep his clothes clean. If you impart religious education to your child, you will be free from your responsibilities. As long as the child lives, and whatever good deed he does, and salah he performs, and forgiveness that he seeks from Allah for you, will elevate your position in paradise. If for the sake of this life, and for the lust of a few coppers, you kept him ignorant of deen, not only will you have to suffer for this misdeed, but whatever evil and misdeeds he does, your account will not be free from their burden. For Allah's sake, have pity on yourselves. This life is only a passing phase, and death will put an end to all its hardships, however great, but the sufferings for which there is no end will be everlasting.